Before the courtroom doors had even closed, the bombshell went off in every group chat in Atlanta. Jasmine abruptly divulged the nuclear option that no one had expected, her voice shaking with intense passion and her eyes ablaze. She is asking for full and sole custody of the little child, whom the entire family decided would always be shared. He is now mine. The cameras were waiting outside and she snarled at them. Lipstick is still perfect and tears won't fall. Rasheeda is allowed to continue. This concludes the chapter. According to multiple sources within, the family is already whispering that the papers were served before sunrise, with charges so horrible that they make the previous season's reunion appear like a tea party. There were allegedly secret recordings of late-night parties as the toddler slept in the room next door. Claims that for months, one side has been secretly gathering evidence in preparation for the perfect moment to launch an attack. And that moment has just arrived. Rasheeda's camp is reportedly utterly unstable. Lawyers are hurrying, phones are ringing, and devoted friends are already taking sides in public. A close friend texted that Jasmine had finally stopped being courteous, saying, "She really just tried to erase her." The child's paternal relationships are reportedly divided in half. Others calmly admitted that the hostility had been brewing for years, while others cried out treachery. Fans who once supported the blended family concept are now seeing the foundation crack in real time. Private Instagram profiles are being deleted in the middle of sentences. We're clearing out old co-parenting photos. In the middle of it all sits a tiny child whose name is about to become the newest battlefield. This case is not a low-key one. It's a war. Furthermore, there was no apology when the first shot was fired in public on television. Someone will lose everything, and the events that follow have the potential to ruin all prior alliances. Tension sprang out as soon as those custody docs showed up at Rasheeda's door in the morning. Everyone in the group of friends and relatives had chosen their lines of defense by the time the sun had fully risen. In the middle of the uproar, Jasmine remained steadfast and reaffirmed that Rasheeda had to acknowledge that the young boy was now solely hers and move on without causing any more chaos. People with knowledge of the matter claim that Jasmine had been secretly gathering evidence for months, recording late-night conversations in which Rasheeda allegedly admitted to being overworked by her businesses and the constant scandal surrounding them. Eventually, as the youngster waited for intermittent attention, Jasmine played the videos for her attorney. Since the choice was final, she declined to share another holiday, birthday, or school drop-off. The boy would be ruled hers by the courts. Emotions were running high when Rasheeda's sister called an emergency family meeting in the living room of the old Atlanta house, where they used to celebrate every milestone together. Now accusations were commonplace. Rasheeda cried out in a broken voice, "How could you do this to us after everything we built?" Jasmine snapped out, "You know I love that child like my own," without blinking. Love does not shield him. Love does not show up when he is sick at 3 in the morning. Love doesn't always follow the straightforward path that I did. And he is right now. Remember, the room was immediately divided. One cousin stood up, and Jasmine gave a strong nod. Another relative walked out, yelling that this was complete betrayal and that the family would never recover. Fans who had followed every aspect of their lives online were completely taken aback. An examination of past co-parenting videos was started, frame by frame. People hesitated on every smile and gaze, saying that the cracks had always been there. To put it simply, they ignored them. A widely circulated comment said, "She waited until the child was old enough to understand abandonment before killing the youngster." Another who stood up for Jasmine said that a good mother protects her own, regardless of who gets hurt in the process. The personal stakes were quite high for Jasmine. This was an effort to prove that she had always been the main parent, the person who changed the nappies, the individual who, in spite of the thieves, kept playing music, the one who canceled every outing to ensure the youngster never felt alone. For Rasheeda, it was the ideal method to erase years of memories. On Christmas mornings, the two women laughed and planned birthdays together. Everything was going to be altered to make it appear as if she had never lived while the child opened gifts. The first big surprise was when Jasmine allegedly said, "The boy already calls me mommy more than her, and I am done pretending we are equal," after a mutual acquaintance shared a private voicemail. That a single clip caused the group discussions to utterly collapse. People were blocking each other after sharing identical family photos in the past. One of Rasheeda's closest friends claimed in a long post to have warned everyone that Jasmine was playing a long game, collecting every tiny mistake and waiting for the perfect moment to attack. According to Jasmine, the only game being played was the one in which Rasheeda treated the child less like a living, breathing child in need of constancy and more like a photography accessory. The family was divided in the most excruciating way. Grandparents who used to host Sunday dinners were now refusing to speak to half the table, and uncles who used to coach the boys' little league games were choosing which woman to support in court. According to reports, the youngster asked why. There was a sudden hush all around him when an unknown source disclosed that Rasheeda had already started looking for properties in a different state and was preparing to relocate if the judge sided against her. Jasmine became even more determined. She told her attorney, "I won't let him be put in a car and driven away from everything he knows. I am his home, but Rasheeda can start over somewhere else if that's what she needs." One afternoon, the heated arguments broke into public spaces in the same park where they used to take the child for ice cream. Jasmine's words pierced the atmosphere like a shard of glass as multiple phones captured the altercation between the two women on tape. "You had an opportunity. The courts will now make a judgment and they will choose me." Despite the tears in her eyes, Rasheeda's remarks remained harsh. "Every time the new man needed you, you choose the brand discounts on late nights. You think that having him makes you a better mother, that removing me fixes whatever is broken inside of you, and that when he asks for me one day, you'll have to explain why you ended our relationship." Until someone finally said, "Let the child decide." The gathered audience remained still. The final twist was revealed by an unexpected ally, as the two women turned to realize that everyone in the city was watching their private struggle. Long and the two legal teams were already at odds over who should make the initial presentation. A former nanny who had worked in both homes came forward and claimed to have meticulously documented every spray pickup for every weekend that was canceled. The journal was said to be hundreds of pages every time the boy sobbed for one woman while the other was too distracted. Emotions continued to rise as more people became involved in the drama. After years of being neutral, an aunt eventually made a statement saying that both women needed to take a step back, and that she could no longer watch the child become a prize to be won. Every choice was made with heart in mind. It was becoming more difficult to ignore the human cost. Some fans created compilation tapes detailing all the occasions Jasmine had been the only person present at school events, while others edited recordings of joyful moments set to melancholy music. Jasmine was allegedly barely sleeping and checking her phone every hour for updates from her lawyer, while Rasheeda was reportedly canceling appearances and withdrawing from close friends in an effort to come to terms with the possibility that the boy she helped raise might be legally removed from her life forever. Another level of conflict arose when the child's paternal relatives entered the conversation. Some of them supported Jasmine, while others warned that having exclusive custody would end. The fourth unexpected development happened when a private investigator working for one website allegedly discovered that some financial accounts linked to the child's trust had been accessed in dubious ways. The family was split up again. Group texts are turning into battlegrounds with new accusations and old screenshots. The boy was spending more time with temporary carers, while the adults argued over non-existent schedules, and those who once referred to themselves as family were now only communicating through lawyers. Both sides denied any wrongdoing, but the mere suggestion of financial difficulties fueled an already fierce conflagration. Sources claim that behind closed doors, Jasmine was battling the loneliness of being the only decision-maker and the weight of what full custody would actually mean. Jasmine maintained her unwavering attitude in public, repeating the same statements that started it all. "Now that he's mine, Rasheeda can move on." The pressure of never being allowed to fail and the knowledge that every decision would be scrutinized by the same fans who once cheered for the blended family fantasy kept the arguments escalating. One late-night phone call between the two women ended with both hanging up in tears the following morning. Rasheeda was reportedly preparing a counterfiling that would request expanded visitation and a full psychological evaluation of everyone involved, a move that Jasmine's team called pure desperation and Rasheeda's team called necessary protection. In the release text, Jasmine stated, "I will fight you in every courtroom in this state if that is what it takes," and Rasheeda replying, "Get ready because I am not walking away." And the family began to disintegrate, beginning with a child I helped raise. Cousins who had previously been on vacation were now unfollowing each other. Friends who had previously thrown joint birthday parties were canceling plans, and the larger network of reality TV connections began to weigh in with vague posts about commitment and parenting, which only fueled the flames. With every new development, the pressure on both women increased, and the sense that something much more important was on the verge of collapsing hung over everything like a storm. The cloud is about to explode, as if the child's future were a plot point crafted for their amusement. Fans created polls wondering who the true parent was and debated every scenario to keep the topic going around the clock. A young child who still cannot understand why the two most important women in his life can no longer stand in the same room without the atmosphere being electrified with rage and unresolved grief is all that's left of the custody dispute after the cameras eventually stop filming, turning it into a public vote on love sacrifice and who gets to claim the label of mother. The fifth major twist occurred when the child's paternal grandmother sent an official request for emergency mediation in a sealed envelope that swiftly reached both families. If the two ladies could not stop treating him like a prize, she was willing to seek temporary guardianship from the court. Every argument was followed by silence, which only heightened the volume of the subsequent explosion. Nobody is taking him from me, not Rasheeda, not some grandmother who only shows up when the cameras are rolling. He is mine, and I will burn every bridge in this city before I let that happen across town, Jasmine said in a low, menacing voice, gathering her closest friends in the kitchen that same evening after learning that the child was suffering more from the ongoing public arguments than from any custody arrangement. They are trying to erase both of us now, Rasheeda whispered as she sat next to her sister and listened to music. They are betraying themselves despite having previously pledged to keep this youngster safe, she said, tears finally running down her face. The sister reached for her hand, but Rasheeda pulled back, repeating the platitudes that had become her defense. I helped raise him. I was there, and I won't leave because Jasmine decided she wanted to be the center of attention. Fans who had been following every update were shocked again when old videos of the grandmother smiling at birthday celebrations suddenly surfaced on timelines with captions asking where she was during the most difficult times. The online debates grew worse every hour, with some reports claiming the grandmother was the only adult left and others accusing her of waiting for the right moment to abduct the child. The personal stakes naturally escalated when Jasmine's lawyer confirmed that the mediation request could delay the full custody hearing by months. I refuse to pretend that we can still be polite when we are in the same room, Jasmine told her team during a recorded strategy meeting, refusing to accept the postponement. Let's put an end to our conversation. The time to triumph is now. And if that requires traveling to the burning ground, that is okay. Within hours, his comments were leaked, and the response was immediate. Those who had previously supported her began to question whether the fight was still about winning or the child's best interests. Rasheeda's camp was occupied. The introductory remark, which cautiously stated that she was open to any conversation that valued the boy's emotional well-being, made Jasmine seem increasingly isolated. The sixth twist was a private text conversation between two friends that somehow ended up in group chats. The correspondence revealed that both ladies had been making private contact with the same child psychologist in an effort to receive a favorable evaluation before the other. Did the discovery cause another fracture inside the circle? One friend sent a long message after trying to maintain objectivity, saying that she was sick of witnessing two adult women turn a small child into a chess piece and that she would no longer receive calls from either side. The family was divided once more, with Christmas preparations already canceled and group photos from previous years secretly stored. Emotions were running high when the two women suddenly met into each other at the pediatrician's clinic, where they had inexplicably scheduled appointments. When Jasmine and Rasheeda made eye contact that afternoon, the waiting room fell silent. The boy sitting between them glanced from one face to the other without comprehending the tension. Jasmine leaned down and kissed the top of his head, whispering loudly enough for everyone to hear. Mommy is right here, baby, and nobody is taking you anywhere. Rasheeda clenched her jaw. She answered calmly and politely while seeming to grin at the toddler. Both of us are here and always will be. The instant the boy was out of earshot, the dispute broke out. Rasheeda retorted that Jasmine was the one who had the office call her at the last minute in order to force a confrontation, while Jasmine accused Rasheeda of deliberately scheduling the same time slot to create a scene. As soon as phones were released, the footage went viral and thousands of comments debated who appeared more deranged. An elderly nanny who had spent many hours working for Rasheeda revealed a seventh unexpected development. Jasmine's team quickly denied the accusation, calling it a sponsored smear attempt to influence the next mediation in a statement. But the harm was already done, and those who had supported Jasmine unwaveringly began to express mild skepticism. With every new post, gossip, and family member who chose to speak, the pressure on both ladies grew. According to reports, the child's teachers noted that he was quieter at school and asked more frequently when he would see particular relatives again. The grown-ups paused for a half-second before the fighting started again because of that one detail. Jasmine would spend long evenings watching old footage of the boy walking for the first time, reliving the time she was the only person in the frame and convincing herself that she would always be the constant. The eighth twist came from an unlikely source, a producer who had been filming their lives for years, who revealed that both women had been approached separately about filming a special one-on-one interview about the custody battle, and that each had initially said yes before realizing the other was also involved. Rasheeda spent those same nights scrolling through years of photos where both of their faces appeared beside his, trying to understand how something that once felt unbreakable had shattered so completely. Rasheeda insisted that Jasmine had intended to use the video to portray her as unsuitable, while Jasmine claimed Rasheeda just wanted the interview to control the narrative. This revelation sparked yet another round of allegations. Now the boy's name was trending daily, and strangers who felt entitled to an opinion were analyzing every facet of his early life. While some family members quietly admitted that the public focus might be the only thing compelling a settlement, others pleaded with both parties to turn off the cameras. Late into the night, arguments persisted, illuminated by fresh voice notes, screenshots, and allegations that someone had received coaching on what to say in court. The pressure of that scrutiny affected both moms in different ways. Jasmine grew more rigid and determined to control every outcome, while Rasheeda became quieter and more focused on documenting every encounter in case the court wanted proof of her involvement.